let's start with why work isn't working. Employees are treated like second-class citizens. We see it every day, and I'm sure many people in this room feel it every day. You contrast the amazing experiences that we have as customers, and you contrast that to our experiences in the workplace. There is a massive gap. There is a massive gap between how organizations treat their customers and how organizations treat their employees. And this is creating problems. It's creating serious problems, one of which, disengagement. Disengagement is rampant. You look at any study, any data, 4 out of 5 people inside organizations are disengaged or barely engaged. Imagine the meeting if 4 out of 5 customers were disengaged. What would happen? Imagine, we would never accept that. We would never dream of accepting 4 out of 5 customers being disengaged. And yet, that's the status quo. How did we get here?
We have this problem of disengagement. And actually, a friend of mine used to work at an organization, which he left. Every day he used to send me photos on WhatsApp of the people that he would catch sleeping in the office. With drool hanging down their faces as they're just completely disengaged. And you think to yourself, how is talent not the most wasted resource on earth? But we don't want to be depressing today. We want to be empowering. Here's the upside. So what that means, you have disengaged people, there's wasted talent inside organizations. It means that there's an untapped pool of potential and talent inside every organization. That's just waiting to be tapped, just waiting to be surfaced. Inside every company, for everybody in this room, I promise you that there is a whole bunch of untapped potential in there if you can just get at it. So if you remember anything at all for the next little while, remember this one idea. And it's a simple idea. Treat employees like we treat customers. So instead of treating them like second-class citizens, treat them like we treat customers. We're going to break it down into 3 simple principles for how to treat your employees like customers. Principle number 1 is trust. So let's talk about trust for a second. Signals of distrust are everywhere inside big organizations. Think about it. Let's talk about some examples. So let's say you're sick. You wake up in the morning, you're feeling awful, you're feeling terrible. You're not going to make it into work that day. A lot of organizations require you to go and get a medical certificate to prove, see some laughs here, to prove that you're sick, right? So you feel terrible, but you have to traipse to the doctor, go sit in a waiting room with a bunch of other sick people to probably get even more sick. Then go home and then finally get into bed and actually rest. All of these problems are signals of distrust. And individually, right? They don't seem like much. It's just, that's just the way work is. I'll just tolerate it. That's fine. That's the way it is, right? But when you add it all up cumulatively, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. Tiny little paper cuts. And it makes work insufferable for people. We design our systems in the workplace for the 1% of bad apples, right? So we think 1% of people might do something wrong, so let's design the whole system. But what that means is that 99% of people who are good people with great intentions get punished by the risk of the 1%, maybe taking advantage of the system. And that is just the wrong way to do it. So we need to default to trust. In every decision that we make, default to trust.
Principle number 2, simplicity. How many people have seen something like this? Like, when is this going to stop? Would we ever present something like this to a customer? No. We sell an aspiration. We tell stories. We simplify. We cut out the complexity and we make it easy for customers to understand what we want. Every single day, we read stuff like this. Every single day. What is this? What does this say? What does this even mean? You go out and ask employees in the field, what's the strategic imperative and the operating philosophy and the pillars and the growth drivers? I deleted that. I didn't even open it. My personal mission in life is to break the habit in organizations of creating this. My personal mission. Simplicity. Let's stop. Let's make a promise in this room today that we won't try and communicate 5,000 words on a slide. Simplicity.
Number 3, experience lens. Every company has process, right? And in some ways, process is inevitable, but in the vast majority of cases, process creates awful experiences. And process and experience are two totally different mindsets. The point of this is that we're so obsessed with creating perfect process, right? It's logical on paper, but actually the experience is totally different. And so when in that scenario, what we realized, the process was very logical on paper, and you had all of these different people that you had to speak to, your line manager, HR, line manager in the new country, HR in the new country, movers, lawyers, bankers, schools for your new kids, but everyone was disconnected. And that was an awful experience. Looking at things through an experience lens changes everything, and we need to stop obsessing over process inside organizations. So those are the 3 simple principles to treat your employees like customers.
So we'd like your help. We're on a mission to make work, and we can't do it alone. We need your help. We'd love for you to start asking questions. When you go back to the office today, when you go back to the office tomorrow, when you're in your office next week, and you're experiencing things, just start asking the question, would we treat our customers like this? And if the answer's no, take a stand. Take a stand and say, well, we shouldn't go ahead and do this then for our employees. Let's rethink this. Let's simplify. Are we designing for the 1%, the lowest common denominator, or are we designing for the 99%? And I guarantee you it'll start to transform your organization and get at that talent. You're sitting on a gold mine. Thank you.